That's right, I meant what I said. This is the type of fragrance you should be looking to buy. Now, is this the only type of fragrance you should be looking to buy? Well, if you're the type of person who likes to have a somewhat diverse wardrobe of fragrances to choose from for different occasions, different times of the year, then I think that's totally fine. I am kind of that guy. But if you don't want to deal with all that hoopla, and especially if you're one of those people who doesn't want a large collection, then this is the type of fragrance I think you should be looking for. Now, it doesn't have to be one of these 10 I'm going to share with you, but these 10 are a great starting place, and I'm going to tell you why. Each of these fragrances has a trifecta, 3 elements, 3 attributes that I believe are very hard to find these days in modern perfumery. And they are a scent that is accessible, which means it's easy to like for you as the wearer, for other people around you who will smell it on you. There's nothing about it that is off-putting, that is head-scratching, that is too complex, that is too unfamiliar. So that might sound like a very boring, mass-appealing, not reinventing the wheel type of fragrance. Okay, well, let's move on. Our second point, something that is versatile. So this is a fragrance you can wear any time of the year. Once again, if you don't want a large collection, you're looking for somewhat of a Swiss Army knife, any one of these fragrances can function for every scenario, every occasion, every season. But the third and final prong of this trifecta is the most important. It's relatively unique. Yes, we have a fragrance that is easy to understand and enjoy, easy to wear, and won't necessarily have you smelling like everybody else. Think about how rare that is. How many fragrances do we see come out that are authentic new releases that are not trying to copy something, that have that trifecta? We don't see that very often. Again, I've compiled 10 that I think nail these criteria. They're all going to be linked in the video in some way. If you've tried them, I want to know what you think of them down in the comments, and how about we dive right into it. Our first one up here is a fragrance I've been talking about and raving about for a number of years. In fact, I got it the year it came out. I tried to hate this fragrance because everyone else was hating it, for the reason that it was unlike its predecessor. It was a redefining of this fragrance line, and people didn't want anything to do with that because they thought the OG was something that didn't need changing. But Dior disagreed, and they brought us Dior Homme 2020. I do have the original Dior Homme. I got my bottle in 2017, and I really appreciate and enjoy that fragrance. I don't wear it all that much because it is a little bit of a particular profile, but it's a beautiful trailblazing profile that really brought Iris to the forefront of men's mainstream perfumery in a way we had never seen before. So I understand why it is a seminal fragrance. It deserves its flowers. If you can get your nose on that one at some point, if you haven't tried it, please do so. I feel like that will unlock your world as far as the lineage of the use of iris in men's designer perfumery. But Dior Homme 2020 came along, threw a wrench in all of that. No iris in here, no chocolatey cacao, no leather. All of the original elements that made the original so special are gone here. This is a new fragrance. It's done by Francois Demachy, and we know his track record. So if you were like me and you heard the reviews of this, maybe you still haven't gotten around to smelling this one and you're like, I don't know, I do like the original Dior Homme. This sounds like it's a complete departure. Why would they do that? I'm not even going to try it. Again, I was there. I tried to stay away from this fragrance. I got curious. I got a decant of it. I spent a week with it, and after that week I was like, man, I like this. I don't know why. Citrus, woods, musk. That is the primary elements that you get out of this working together. Now, there are other facets in here that give it a little bit more dimension, that give it its personality. The LME resin here is a standout feature. You don't see LME resin a whole lot in the forefront of men's designer fragrances, of fragrances that are intended to be appealing to the masses, but it's used so well here. And you have some other not so natural ingredients like Isoe Super, like cashmerein. These ingredients that give it a cozy, musky woodiness that is very enveloping. It leaves a beautiful trail. It's almost more of functional ingredients, but they of course do add to the scent of it, making it very modern smelling. But all in all, it's kind of a hard fragrance to break down. In its simplicity, it's kind of all one accord. It is so well made, and once again, it hits the trifecta. It's easy to like by you and anyone else around you. A fragrance you can wear anytime, anywhere, and it doesn't smell exactly like anything else. Again, a special combination. If you've tried this fragrance, maybe you weren't blown away, and that's okay. I'm not getting on camera saying you're going to be blown away by this. No, you might just really like it and be charmed by it. If that's the case, you'll get a ton of wear out of it, and if you really want compliments, this will do that. That's the Dior Homme 2020. Let me know what you think. Now, this fragrance has an interesting story to it. Sometimes these lineage stories that a brand will give us about the history of a particular fragrance, it can be hit or miss. Sometimes it's like, is that that really happen? This one, I'm like, maybe. This is from Clive Christian. This is called Town and Country, and if I'm not mistaken, this was originally a vaulted fragrance that came out decades ago that was allegedly Winston Churchill's signature scent, and they've kind of brought it back in the last couple years in this new collection, in this new bottle, and all this stuff. Again, I can't verify that, but it seems kind of possible. Who knows? What does it smell like though? This is a timeless scent, and again, it has a simplicity to it that also doesn't smell like anything else. Now, if you look it up, you're just gonna see 3 ingredients. I think you'll see clary sage, I think you'll see ambergris, and you'll see some sandalwood. And yeah, you can probably try to pinpoint those ingredients while smelling it, but I get this, again, a chord. It is this unified combination of ingredients that comes off as one thing. And the way I can break down that one thing is it's kind of fresh, but in this like musky, salty way. That is the ambergris definitely doing its work. You get a slightly sweet herbaceousness, and that's the clary sage. And there's this ultimate smoothness. It is kind of woody, but not overtly so. The woods are very subdued, just a small platform, adding a touch of dry smoothness to kind of just support the fragrance. But overall, it is musky, slightly sweet, herbaceous, and a little bit fresh in an unusual way. As simple as it sounds, some of you guys might not like this. I've seen some fairly polarizing reviews. I don't know, I love this stuff, and for whatever reason, it performs very well. Like, I get 15 hours out of this fragrance. Now, it's kind of linear, it doesn't really change that much, but the profile is perfect, again, for any scenario. It's perfect for being around just about any type of person, as long as you don't go crazy on the trigger, because once again, it's strong, and it doesn't really smell like anything else that I've tried. It's a special fragrance for being so simple. It's kind of ironic. We're gonna see more of that as we go. That is Clive Christian, Town and Country. Let me know if you've tried it. Continuing on with the simplicity here. This fragrance was commissioned by Essential Parfums. They asked Quentin Biche to do what they ask a lot of perfumers to do for the fragrances that they produce. To take a fragrance that he already made for another company that was seminal, that was popular, that did really well, and that kind of shook the industry, and to kind of remix it for them. And honestly, I think that's fair. I don't call that a clone or a dupe. It's like asking a musician to re-record a song that they wrote using different sensibilities for another producer or whatever it is. It's totally fair because it's the artist's work here. That fragrance is Bois Imperial, and it would not exist if Quentin hadn't made Ganymede. Now, it doesn't smell exactly like Ganymede. They do have some distinctive differences. The best way I could break it down for the layman is that if you don't like Ganymede, you'll probably like this. There's some elements of Ganymede that are a little bit sharp. That metallic nature, the immortelle in there can come off a little strange. It's very minerally in its freshness, and again, some people just feel like it smells kind of sterile. This fragrance does not have that. It tones out the edges a bit. It maybe has a little bit less of a present personality to it. It's a little bit less outgoing, not in terms of performance, but just in terms of a recognizable face. Definitely recognizable, but compared to Ganymede, that one is just a much more pervasive personality. This is musky woodiness, dry, a little spicy, not the most natural smelling, but really well done. Gonna leave a nice trail around you. Nice compliment getter, and extremely versatile. And again, the only fragrance that this really represents is other stuff made by Quentin Biche. So it's all kind of in its own little microcosm that he created. But outside of that, it smells like nothing else really. It's just modern perfumery, really well done, easy to wear, good performance, very likable. Again, all the things that most people are looking for are in here. And you've probably already tried this, but if you haven't, get yourself a sample of this one or try it however you want to try it. That's Bois Imperial. It is a favorite of many for a reason. This next fragrance is very seminal. I believe it's a 2006. This is from Amouage, and this is probably the most popular fragrance they've ever produced. Let's just be real. That's Reflection Man. I don't need to say much about this because you've probably already tried it, but I do think it fits this criteria perfectly. This is a fragrance that I believe is easy to wear. Now, that doesn't guarantee you're gonna like it, because it does have a personality. It does have a slightly more floral, powdery nature to it. And you gotta be okay with that type of vibe. But that being said, if you're not typically the type of person who likes powdery fragrances, and that's me, you might still like Reflection Man because it does it in a very manageable, kind of reined in and classy way that still feels kind of masculine. So in addition to being mostly likable for you and those around you, again, as long as you don't overspray it, it's also very versatile. You can wear this pretty much any season. Admittedly, not my favorite and top recommendation and personal wearing for the highest heat during the summer. There's other fragrances I would reach for that just function better as a scent personality, but it could do okay. You know, if you really want to go that vibe, you really want to wear it in the heat, you could probably be fine. Just adjust your sprays. And in addition to all that, it's unique. Some people try to compare it to Le Male from Jean Paul Gaultier. No, this is a totally different league here. If you want to smell like a clean, dapper gentleman who's classy, but not necessarily mysterious, this is more daytime elegance to me. This is not your dark, edgy, super formal type of fragrance. Nah, this has a transparency to it. It has a welcoming quality to it with its fresh, clean, like neroli, and again, the white florals like jasmine, some sandalwood, some spices, orris root, that buttery, slightly powdery iris nature of the fragrance. It's just so well done. It should be around forever. I hope it is. I hope Amouage doesn't mess up and get rid of this fragrance in the direction that they're going in. But again, I think it just suits this criteria absolutely perfectly. I want to know if you agree. That is Amouage Reflection Man. We got another seminal classic here. Came out early 2000s, like 04, 05. This is from Ormonde Jayne, and I think it's an underrated, underappreciated genre of perfumery here that was created by Zaharoff that has persisted today in releases he's done for Ormonde Jayne, of course, maybe for other brands, and other perfumers working for other brands as well. This is Ormonde Man, and this is a scent profile that is woody, musky, airy, has a transparency to it. It's easy to kind of smell into without feeling overwhelmed. There's not too much density to it, but at the same time, it is undeniable. It has this very natural smelling, like out in the woods type of scent without smelling like the woods. I don't know if that really makes sense. You don't smell like you're smelling a tree, or you smell like a tree. There is cedar wood in here. There's hemlock, which I can't explain hemlock to you. I don't know much about the scent of that, but it is a hallmark ingredient of this fragrance. Uses some beautiful fresh spices like cardamom, actually quite a bit of cardamom, which helps to define the scent. I almost get this nutty feel to it. I think that maybe the hemlock, I don't know. Not necessarily gourmand, but almost like this natural tree nut, like the nut has not yet been harvested. Again, I feel like I'm smelling a forest vibe, but not like I'm in the forest or that I am the forest. Again, I hope that makes sense. Let's talk about Zaharoff, and we got a simple one here. Once again, simple but not basic. Simplicity, when done really well, gives some of the most personality in a fragrance. Very ironically, you don't need a ton of ingredients to have a unique profile. You can have clarity with laser focus. This is Signature Royale X. I have seen quite a few people say they don't understand how people like this fragrance, that it smells like BO, that it smells funky and dirty. That is an element that Zaharoff was going for in this fragrance. It's like clean dirty, clean funk, so to speak. There's actually kind of a raunchy motivation tied to this fragrance, and it's very provocative. But to me, I don't know, this doesn't smell dirty at all. This is something I've gotten quite a bit of compliments from. I've had people smell this as I approach and like,
what are you wearing? What is that?
Oh, it's Zaharoff Signature Royale X.
I don't know what the heck that is. Can you spell that?
It's a clean, citrusy, very musky, woody fragrance. It almost has a similar construction to me as something like Dior Homme 2020. It's hard to really dissect it. It comes off as this one thing. And I just think, again, it checks these boxes. It is likable, but make sure you like it. I'm not guaranteeing you anything, but if you like this fragrance, then you should wear it. And if you wear it because you like it, then you'll wear it with confidence, which means other people will probably like it too. That doesn't mean they'll say something, but they might. In addition to being likable, once again, super versatile, any time of the year, any occasion, day or night, this can work for it all. If you're concerned about it being a little bit too funky, don't overspray it. It'll be fine. And once again, smells like nothing else that I've ever really tried. This is the type of fragrance you should be buying if you are looking for something that you can get a lot of wear out of. But again, just make sure you love it. They do sell samples on their website. I'll link them down below. That is Zaharoff Signature Royale X. Let me know if you're a fan. This next fragrance was kind of a silent innovator. I, for one, was a little disappointed when I first tried this because I had the frame of mind of what had come before it. similar to Dior Homme 2020. I'm talking about H24 from Hermes, and the fragrance I had in mind when I first tried this was Terre d'Hermes, the original Terre d'Hermes DNA, because that was the last new male marketed mainstream release that Hermes had given us before they gave us H24, I think in 2021 or something like that. I was thinking, oh, this is gonna be somewhat complex and it's gonna have that same kind of masculine vibe that Terre d'Hermes had, and I smelled it and I'm like, ah, it smells really simple and just like it didn't inspire me. So I kind of wrote it off until I got the EDP version the following year, which I ended up loving. In fact, I loved it more than this, but getting acquainted with the EDP made me curious to come back to the EDT, and I was primed for this, and I love this stuff, and I really appreciate it because of the type of perfumery this is. Again, silent innovator. The perfumer whose last name I can never pronounce correctly, Christine Nagel, whatever it is, her name is here on screen. She's the in-house perfumer for Hermes. And H24 is an extremely modern take on something that smells green, metallic, and fresh. There is this green mossiness. There's narcissus, which is more of like a green, earthy floral. But there's this ingredient called sclerine, if I'm not mistaken, that almost has this iron feel, like a cool iron, like metallic freshness that's not too sharp. It's not too pervasive. It kind of wraps the scent up. Ultimately makes it smell like nothing else. I have not smelled anything quite like H24. Once again, comes across as this beautiful accord that is very likable, easy to wear, and unique. Once again, hitting the trifecta, H24 nails it. I really hope they keep this line going. I'm recognizing that they're trying to do something special. They're trying to create their own trends. They're not trying to just ride whatever's gonna make as much money as possible. They're trying to add value to us, guys. I respect Hermes for that. They're one of the few designer houses out here really trying to do that, and it shows in their products. Let me know what you think of H24. This fragrance has been a favorite of mine since I first tried it. Absolute love at first sniff. It's gotten dupes and clones these days because it's been hyped up a whole lot more, and it's one of those fragrances that accomplishes something special with something simple. This is Gentle Fluidity Silver from MFK. I've talked about it a ton on this channel. I think I've had this for like 5 years. And like many of these, this is signature scent vibes. It's kind of fresh and cooling and sharp with juniper berry, almost gin-like in its cold, almost herbal quality. Again, pretty sharp, but it's softened by musks and amber and a little bit of sweet vanilla. Just a handful of building blocks working together to create something that smells simple, but works well together and also smells like nothing else that really came before it and lasts a long time, performs well. It checks all the boxes for a fragrance that most people would be looking for, assuming that you enjoy it. That's number one. Don't buy it because you think other people are gonna like it and that you can wear it everywhere. Buy it first so that you enjoy it. And if you do, that's the trickle down effect. That's the ripple effect that will make all of these other boxes worthwhile and have meaning, because you'll actually get some true wearing out of a fragrance you love to wear. I wanna know what you think of Gentle Fluidity Silver if you've tried it. Second to last fragrance, this is one that's been around a while but does not get really any talk at all. In fact, this house is a little quiet as far as chatter here on YouTube. This is from Nobile 1942. They call this Pontevecchio. This is a timeless men's fragrance, and it's one that takes florals in a very masculine and approachable way. Iris and geranium are the primary florals here. I think you get a little bit more geranium than iris, so it's kind of rosy, minty, fresh, with a touch of this slightly powdery iris behind it. But you also get a lot of vetiver, lots of clean, dry, woody vetiver, some citruses. It's a little bit bitter, clean, rosy, slightly powdery, fresh, dry, woody. I hope that gives you an idea of what it smells like. It's kind of a hard scent to describe. It always has been for me, but it's one that I can't deny. I just love the smell of. It smells like nothing else I've ever tried. I can wear it anywhere, anytime, and for the most part, people are gonna really enjoy it. It stands out as something different without trying too hard. It's kind of a sleeper. Once again, let me know if you're one of the few who've tried Pontevecchio. Are you a fan of this one? And our final fragrance, I wore this the other night, and it's actually the fragrance that kind of inspired this video. This is still my favorite fragrance from the House of Fragrance du Bois. It's one of the most special fragrances they've put out. I think I recently featured it in a video. I wore it after that video, and I'm like, oh, this thing just checks all the boxes. I need to make a video of fragrances that do this. This is Oud Bleu Intense. Once again, it's a fragrance that comes off as very likable. For you as the wearer, for anyone around you, it's gonna come off as approachable and somewhat clean. It's a very versatile fragrance. It's something you can wear in the summertime, you can wear it in the wintertime, and any time in between. It has elements of freshness and a cleanliness with warmth and woodiness that works for all seasons. And it's unique. It reminds me of nothing else that came before it. Now, what does it smell like? It accomplishes its freshness and its somewhat blue quality, which is kind of an illusion, but it's detectable in an odd way, in an unusual way, with the use of incense and resins. How can any of that smell clean and blue? I don't know. I don't know how they did it, but blended with some citruses, blended with an oud note that doesn't overtake the fragrance, that is just a nice, dry, woody element to the personality that makes it stand out from just a clean blue fragrance. It just nails it. It works, performs well. I think it's, again, just a stunning, phenomenal fragrance that everyone needs to try. And if you're looking for one from a niche house that is typically pretty expensive, but an offering from that house that actually allows you to get what you pay for, this is one I can easily recommend. That's Oud Bleu Intense. I want to know what you think. If you're a fan, let me know if you tried any of these fragrances. Once again, they're linked all over the video, in the description, whatever I did. Let's talk about it down in the comments.